Welcome, dear friends. Today, we talk about the forgotten painter who changed the art world in silence. This is the story of Elena Moreau, a name rarely spoken but whose work quietly reshaped modern art. Born in a small village in France, Elena's childhood was marked by solitude and observation. While other children played in fields, she sketched shadows of trees, textures of stone, and the subtle expressions of the people around her. Her notebooks, filled with delicate charcoal studies, became the foundation of a vision that the world would eventually fail to see in her lifetime. Her art was not meant for fame or fortune. It was a conversation between her and the world, a dialogue of light, shadow, and emotion. But history has a way of overlooking those who do not shout the loudest. Elena's struggle was twofold: to create art that spoke truths, and to navigate a society that dismissed women painters as amateurs, unworthy of galleries or recognition. Her story is not just about paintings. It is about courage, resilience, and a silent revolution in creativity. Elena's first public exhibition came in 1928, a modest affair in a tiny Parisian gallery. The critics were polite, yet indifferent, unable to grasp the depth behind her minimalistic strokes and abstract compositions. She painted the invisible, the fleeting moment, the emotional undertone hidden in a glance, the sadness of an empty street. Each canvas held stories that whispered rather than shouted, demanding the observer to pause, reflect, and feel. In an era obsessed with flamboyance, Elena's subtlety was revolutionary. Her contemporaries, celebrated for bold colors and dramatic forms, could not see the quiet power in her muted palette. Yet, in private salons and small artistic circles, whispers about her genius circulated. Artists who saw her work described it as hauntingly beautiful, impossibly delicate, and the future of emotion in painting. But the larger world remained blind to her contributions, and Elena retreated into her solitude, painting tirelessly, knowing her art would outlive her fame. Despite neglect, Elena's work began influencing a handful of young artists. They saw what the critics could not: a language of subtlety, restraint, and emotional resonance. She became an unsung hero, guiding the next generation without a single word. Letters exchanged with these protégés reveal her philosophy. Art is not applause, it is the echo of the soul. Elena's teachings were radical in their simplicity. She insisted on observing life rather than copying it, feeling emotion rather than replicating it, and understanding the invisible structures of human experience. Her method, though understated, would eventually become foundational for movements that emphasized psychological depth and existential exploration in visual arts. This quiet mentorship cemented her legacy, not in fame, but in influence. Yet, a mystery surrounds Elena's most famous series, The Silent Streets. Only a few of these paintings survived a devastating fire in her Paris studio during World War II. Rumors suggest that some works were hidden beneath floorboards, while others were destroyed by those who didn't understand their worth. For decades, historians speculated, had these paintings survived? Were they lost forever, or did someone secretly preserve them? The allure of these missing pieces added to Elena's mystique. Collectors and curators scoured abandoned estates and private collections, chasing whispers of her brilliance. Each painting that resurfaced decades later stunned viewers, as if speaking across time. They were proofs of her foresight and her ability to capture human fragility in a single frame. The world began to realize that Elena Moreau was not a footnote. She was a quiet force that changed the very language of modern art. Elena's artistic journey was also deeply personal. Letters reveal a woman haunted by self-doubt yet compelled by an unyielding drive to create. She painted not to impress, but to understand herself and the world. One recurring motif in her works was the lone figure in vast landscapes, a metaphor for isolation, resilience, and introspection. Her brush captured more than form, it captured emotion. She experimented with textures, layers, and negative space, creating paintings that felt alive, almost breathing. Art historians now consider her technique groundbreaking, yet during her lifetime, she remained unnoticed, her genius hidden in plain sight. It is a reminder that true innovation does not always arrive with fanfare. It often arrives silently, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. After her death in 1963, Elena's work began resurfacing in small galleries and private collections. Critics finally began to recognize what had been overlooked for decades: the depth, the innovation, the emotional resonance. Retrospectives of her work revealed a painter ahead of her time, a silent revolutionary whose influence permeated generations of modern artists. Elena Moreau became a symbol of artistic integrity, someone who never compromised her vision for fame or approval. Her story reminds us that impact is not always measured in applause, but in the seeds planted in minds and hearts. Through silence, she spoke louder than many, teaching the world that the truest art comes from honesty and vulnerability. Even today, Elena's influence continues to intrigue art enthusiasts and historians. Some of her lost works occasionally appear at auctions, sparking international intrigue. What makes her story extraordinary is not just her art, it's the enigma of her existence. She was a whisper in a world that demanded roars. She challenged conventions not with confrontation, but with subtlety. Her legacy is a testament to the power of perseverance and quiet rebellion. Every brushstroke, every shadow, every empty space in her canvases speaks to a mind that observed, reflected, and transformed the ordinary into the profound. Elena Moreau remains a reminder that greatness often hides behind the quietest voices. Through her silent impact, Elena inspired countless artists who came after her. From the abstract expressionists to modern minimalists, echoes of her philosophy are visible in their work. She taught them that art is not about recognition but about truth, and that the heart of creation lies in sincerity, not in spectacle. Even without fame, Elena's story is a blueprint for every unsung hero, those whose contributions shape the world quietly, invisibly, yet irrevocably. She reminds us that sometimes, the greatest change comes not from those who shout the loudest, but from those who create in silence, planting seeds that blossom long after they are gone. The final chapters of Elena's story emphasize the universality of her vision. Her paintings, once overlooked, now hang in museums and private collections across Europe. Each viewer experiences a personal dialogue with her work, a quiet reflection of their own emotions and experiences. Elena Moreau's journey from obscurity to posthumous recognition illustrates the power of artistic integrity. Her life was a testament to persistence, patience, and faith in one's inner voice. In her silence, she found freedom; in her art, immortality. Even today, Elena's legacy sparks debates in art schools and academic circles. How could someone so revolutionary remain almost invisible during her lifetime? Was it gender, timing, or the quiet subtlety of her vision that kept the world from noticing? Scholars continue to explore archives, letters, and hidden collections, hoping to uncover new insights about this enigmatic painter. Her story remains a compelling mystery, a testament to the silent struggles of countless artists whose brilliance is not immediately recognized. In unraveling Elena Moreau's life, we are reminded that history often overlooks the gentle voices, only to celebrate them decades later. Elena Moreau's story is ultimately a meditation on patience and the enduring power of truth in art. Every line she drew, every shadow she painted, every quiet corner of her imagination speaks to a world that often overlooks the subtle, the gentle, and the invisible. Her art teaches us to pause, reflect, and value depth over spectacle. For those who create, Elena is an enduring inspiration, a reminder that the impact of your work may not be immediate, but it can ripple across generations in ways you may never witness. True art, like true courage, often exists in silence before the world finally catches up. In closing, Elena Moreau's legacy is proof that silence can be louder than applause. She reminds us that being unnoticed does not diminish value, that integrity and passion are timeless currencies, and that the truest impact is often invisible at first glance. Dear friends, as we reflect on her life, let us honor those who changed the world quietly, the unsung heroes, the forgotten pioneers, and the painters who speak through shadow and light. Elena Moreau may have painted in silence, but her voice echoes across generations.